Hey everybody, welcome to Alum House Sound. My name is Dave, and today we're going to talk about crowd mics for your venue. This is video 2, maybe 3, of the series that I've taken way too long to get back to. And anyway, we're going to run the intro clip, and then we're going to dive into this. All right, so if you're new, welcome to the channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. This is a series that has taken way too long for me to get back to. This is setting up crowd mics in my church's venue. Now, what we use is a historic movie theater, which is super cool, but also has a bunch of complications. Mostly, we only get it for a few hours on Sunday morning. We don't get the big opportunity to come in and set things up and leave them there, and then test throughout the week. And we don't have our own venue, so we are setting up and tearing down every week. Now, I did get an opportunity to jump in at about 6 a.m. the other morning, and I took some mics, the same mics that we used in a previous video, the first video, which are the Rode mics. We'll talk more about those in a minute. But we took these mics and I stuck them up in these owl's nests, which are way up high on either side, flanking the stage. And I've got them wired in, and we're going to kind of go through the install that I did. But the video number 2, if I kind of jump into that here, it's super dark, super hard to see, and that's because of this venue. But I'll show a little bit. I took a 57 and a Sennheiser 835, and I stuck those just on my tech booth, pointing kind of to the left and to the right, a little bit away from the tech area, but towards the congregation. It was just a second effort, and I just never put this out because it really didn't work at all. So if we come to today, the first version was over distorted. If you haven't seen that first video, I'll link that down in the description below. You can check that out after this one, but the short version is it didn't work. That's why we're back here again. So this one I'm hopeful for. I got in early. I was able to wire these up. The event was, the Sunday morning music was an acoustic service. So it was manageable in terms of the overall volume, just piano, guitar, and 2 vocals. But this video is going out on a Friday, and the following Sunday, I'll be playing drums. So I'm going to retest this again. This may be a to be continued at the end of this video, but I will be retesting this again on Sunday when we've got live drums, because the drums are just going to put up a lot more natural volume, and I want to see how these mics react with that before I call it good. But with that in mind, what we're going to do next is dive into the install side, so you can see what I did in the venue, where we were on site, and then where I placed these microphones. So enough talking, let's go ahead. We'll drive on to the Bird Theater, and we'll meet you there. It's early in the morning, people are heading to work. We're gonna get in this building, we're gonna take some mics and some cables and some stands. We're gonna try and get them installed before I get to run sound on Sunday. So let's get started. Sorry for the low light. We are in an old historic movie theater, and while this GoPro has the exposure turned up right now, so it seems like it's getting a bunch of light, it's not really bright in here. But if you haven't seen the previous video, we've got these Rode shotgun mics. I think they're the NT500s or NT5Gs or something. I'll put the link down in the description, and the real model number on the screen as well, because that's what we can do in post-production. Anyway, I tried these on stage, and so over here I normally have a subwoofer sitting right here, and just above it on the corner of the stage is a main 15-inch 3-way top cabinet. Both are powered QSC, and so I had these microphones sitting just behind it. Now, disregard the screen. This is the movie theater screen, which is normally up, and then we've got a stage back here that we use. But right here, I had the microphone set just behind the PA, is where I tried them originally, and those did not work, not a chance. So what we're gonna do is traverse up here into the owl's nest, as they are called. There's a harp up here with some other things, probably pre-wired into the organ because that's how amazing this building is. And we're going to put a mic. See that speaker right there? We don't use those speakers. Those are for the theater. But we're going to try and stick the microphone actually back here, just between the pillar and the wall, so that it can shoot out this way and grab the congregation. We've also got, spin around, sorry about the fast movement, we've got another owl's nest over here that has a piano and a xylophone and a second speaker that they use, and we're going to try and put it on the same side. Now, the wiring, I have to get the wiring through here, and then back behind this pillar, I have an analog snake over here. So I just need to get the cable from up there down to here, and that should plug into the analog snake, which then traverses all the way over to my digital snake. On this side, I only have to come through and get to my digital snake, which is right back here in a rack. Anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. The catch to this, if I take some light with me, because I've got my trusty light here, there we go, is there's no access outside of this hole. You see that hole? Well, the other half of it is actually in this closet. Let's go in this closet here. There we go. So that's the hole. That's where we get to go through. So we got to go through that hole to get up to that owl's nest to put the microphone up, and then we'll figure out how the cable is going to come. And there's an equally small hole on the other side, just with no closet. So now we're backstage. This is actually, this big round thing right here is the back of the owl's nest. As you can see, there are there's some conduit that comes through, but no necessarily easy holes that I can see to get a cable through. Our digital stage box lives in this amp rack. This is the back side of the amp rack, and there's the stage that we talked about that we use. But the digital snake is here, and so I got to get a cable into that digital snake. And what I'm looking at is this little hole right here that goes into the closet. So I think if I can get the cable through there and then wrapped up on top and come along over here and then come down and in, that's gonna be my best bet for this test this weekend. Man, this thing is just fascinating. So there's an old Wurlitzer organ. Here's an old PA speaker. Let me get the light. Just an old speaker up here. We've got bells that are actually wired into the harp. What else is back here? Man, all right. But we've got a clear line of sight right here. So we've got this nice light tree that in the end, if it works out, I could probably just mount the microphone onto that with a swing arm of some sort. But we're just going to set the mic up here and see if we can aim it towards the people that are right down there and pick them up. All right, let's try and run this cable down. All right, guys, we successfully got our cable traversing from the microphone directly over here to our digital snake. And this is going to go into, I think I'm just going to kick it into channel 31 and 32. So this is on the right, so this will be channel 32. And then obviously I can patch internally whatever we need. All right, so there's 32. We'll leave this back here. Disregard the mess over here. This all gets pulled out, straightened out, and cleaned up every week when we load in and load out. Let's look at this part. That's the good part. The better part. All right, other side. All right, so we got the second mic set up, wired up, got the black drapes back in place, but this is gonna go at the end, the next part, because I know some of you guys just want to hear the final story, but some of you all are interested in this. So here's a Wurlitzer piano, which plays like a piano. All right, that's a real piano, but underneath, we've also got a glockenspiel down here, but look at all the wires that are all controlled into the motors that run this piano and the glockenspiel from the Wurlitzer organ. This thing is nuts. All right, so we're all set up. We've got our folks getting set up on stage this morning. And down here at the board, just a quick little thing I'm going to do. Remember, we plugged these into 31 and 32. So I'm going to come in and go ahead and select 31. I'm going to link these channels because it's just going to be a little easier to manage. And then I'm going to hit the phantom power up here. And that should give me phantom power on both, which it does. Now, I'm also going to make sure that I remove these from the stereo bus. I don't need these going into the house because they are, in fact, house mics. Anyway, so that should give us some gain. Now, I've got my DAW set up here, and I've already made sure that my crowd mics, which are here, if I open this up a little bit, skip to the side. So I've got 31 and 32 here, and I'm just going to check that I've got some gain structure. So I'm going to adjust the gain a little bit here, bring the gain up, and then I'm going to do the clap test. I'm going to clap, but before I even get to that, I want to look at my outputs and make sure that these are going out to my DAW across USB. So I'm going to come up and hit routing. I'm going to go over to card, and I see that card is set up 25 to 32 is set for user. So I can use this little button over here and just check and see. So I don't have anything 31 and 32 leaving to go to the DAW. So we need to go over to the user output section. I'm going to push that, come down to 25 to 32. I can skip down to 31, and I can find AES50A. And this is coming in 31. Find the key that works best. There we go, 31. And then next, and I'll go 32. And now I should have, hopefully, some input. All right, so now I come up here, I can see a little bit of metering on 31, 32. So that's good. Now I just got to double check the routing, and then we'll be good. All right, so we're taking a look at the console here. Now I've got a microphone wired in that I'm talking through. You can maybe see that registering here on channel 29, and I'm just going to use this to kind of voice over as we listen to it. I've got my headphones plugged in to the console right over on this side, and I've got my DAW up over here on top of my other monitor speaker running in. And so what I've got, just a couple things with my board layout right here that you'll be able to see and kind of view, is mute groups 2 and 3 are going to be my vocals. And this is 2 is band, 3 is vocals. And then these assign keys here, these are working with my effects. So if I mute 1 or 2, 3, 4, things like that, then those are kind of my quick buttons to get access to that. So we don't need to look at that. The crowd mics, we're just going to listen to them. We're going to kind of see what we get. And let's just run down through here now that we've got a couple parameters set. Now, this is an acoustic service. So we had 2 vocals, 1 acoustic guitar, and 1 piano. And the microphones, as we've already talked about, are placed up in those owl's nests or those alcoves that are flanking the stage and facing the people. So let's take a listen first. I'm just going to hit play over here and kind of get a loop going, and then we'll see what we can hear. All right, so we can see some things metering over here. And if I listen to the band, and this is no effects.
And I'm not afraid.
And if I had the effects.
to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you see them all. You still call me friend.
Okay, so that's just a basic sound of the band, but what I want to do now is mute the band and listen to our crowd mics here. So let's get this loop activated. There we go. All right. So I've got my gain structure set right now. This is whatever we had on Sunday. I just popped them into here, but you can hear the PA, but you can also hear people singing, which is good. Now, what I did is I went up to the EQ section, and let's refine this a little bit. Hear that low rumble we cut out? And if you listen, you can hear the piano distorting a little bit in that low end. So we're going to cut that out, and then we'll take out a little bit more with this EQ. That's a big change, all right? We've gone from a whole lot of big sound, but we really don't need that. We're just trying to get the voices clapping and things like that added in. Then compression. All right, so we got compression here, and if I turn the compressor on, it's going to just mostly get louder and control it a little bit. So I've actually got this turned up about 7 dB. All right, so let's mute this. And what I want to do is listen to this in context. So I'm going to mute all of my effects over here on the right. And I want to see what the impact is of just the room mics with the dry signals. So here we go. Here's our band.
You still call me friend.
Now we'll add in the room mics.
Because the God of the mountains.
Wow, natural reverb.
He's the God of the valley.
Off.
There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you.
So that's a big difference. That adds just that much texture into what's going on with these two mics that I really feel like I can now be a little bit more reserved on what I'm doing with all the effects. So what I want to do now is listen to the band, then we'll add the room mics in, then we'll add the effects back in. So here we go.
Because the God of the mountains, He's the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you.
So we'll add the effects in.
And I'm not afraid.
Now the room mics.
To show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you see them all.
All right. So I'm pretty pleased with that mic placement. That really is doing what I wanted to do. It's getting just enough of the congregation. And I want to fast forward here and see if I can find a spot that will accentuate hearing the congregation sing or respond, maybe at the end of a song. And then we'll play that here. And what I'm going to do is unmute the band. We've got all of our effects in. So here we go. And then we're going to have the crowd mics too. And listen to the clapping in response.
Only one who can.
Yeah, just being able to hear them clap and respond, that's huge. That makes you feel like you are in the room 100%, capturing that room sound, capturing the... So I'm going to play it twice here, once without and then once with the clapping with the crowd mics. So here we go. This is going to be without the crowd mics.
And you're the only one who can.
right, so you hear it a little bit in the background. Here we go with crowd mics. All right, well, that's it. It was a great opportunity to test these mics out in this placement. I really like what we came up with. I really like where they're placed. Like I said earlier in the video, I want to test these out with a full drum set, full band, kind of a little bit louder and more bombastic in terms of the stage volume, and see how the mics handle. I do need to cut the gain back a little bit. We could hear a little bit of distortion even in the piano sounds. So I'm going to cut the mic and gains back a little bit this coming Sunday. I'm going to set up my laptop. Even though I'm playing drums, I'll set my laptop up and at least multi-track record the service, and then I'll come back together. But this may be a part 2 to this video 3, which would make it a part 4. Whatever. The goal is to figure out how I can get crowd mics into the venue, and I think I've solved that problem. The second goal is to bring you all along with me for the ride. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you've got any questions or comments, leave those down in the comment section below. I'm always in the comments, and the community is always interested to hear what you have to offer. Also, if you need any one-on-one help with your specific setup in your venue, go ahead and check out the website. My website, I'll put that here, and you can fill out the contact card on that website, and we can start a conversation outside of YouTube. Again, if you want to check out the Wurlitzer stuff, I'm going to put that right after this, but that's it for this video. We'll catch you all in the next one. Peace. Man, this thing is just fascinating. So there's an old Wurlitzer organ. Here's an old PA speaker. Let me get the light. Just an old speaker up here. We've got bells that are actually wired into the harp. What else is back here? Got a big air bellow. Who knows what that thing is? Oh, that's actually the bellow right there. Wow, that thing moves up and down to pump air. This harp apparently was connected to the organ and had to be decommissioned because I think something on it busted. It's kind of interesting. We just sold a harp very similar to this, clearly not wired up to an organ, but. So some of you I know don't care about this at all. You just want to see the microphones and all that stuff. But man, look at this. Old cables right here. And these things go to all of these patch pins. And look what it hooks up to. There's like a marimba back here. A wooden marimba. Wow. Here's a Wurlitzer piano, which plays like a piano. All right, that's a real piano, but underneath, we've also got a glockenspiel down here, but look at all the wires that are all controlled into the motors that run this piano and the glockenspiel from the Wurlitzer organ. This thing is nuts. Look at that. Gosh. And the organ, just for reference, is down there. If you could, I'll zoom in. But the organ's down there, so when they pull a stop that says piano, it's actually playing this piano here. If they pull a stop that says Glock, it's playing this glockenspiel. All right, back to the mics.